So, sorry for the sounding like I'm, gonna basically be grumpy, but I'm not. I'm quite tired. It's been a long day. And so, JC Rockin' Metal Reviews reached 200 subscribers. And he is a wonderful member of the VC. And I'm going to do a contest entry for him. And so, here we go. It's super simple. But it was such a pain in the ass because I actually had to put some extra thought into this. And I kind of hate being put on the spot like this because I really got to think. Sometimes it's just, like super quick. And other times it's like, oh shit, I got to spend like 2 hours on this thing. I didn't spend 2 hours. I did spend about a good half an hour. Like the first part of this was simple, absolutely simple. So you're probably wondering what are you babbling on about, So he basically wants us to create a fantasy band. Now, we've all done this time and time and time again before. Like, this isn't new for most of us. It's like, oh man, this guy would be so cool, and this guy on this and this and this and this. He picked metal. I'm also going to pick metal. Shocker. I could have did rock and roll, but I just don't feel I have enough records for that. And frankly, if I'm going to talk rock and roll, it's just going to be AC/DC. But I'm going in the thrash vein, as I'm sure you guys are like, oh, such a shocker. And I actually had to make sort of like a last minute decision on the, end lineup. Actually, 2 of them. But now that I've been babbling on for 2 minutes, congrats to you, my man, on 200 subscribers. I'm hoping to get there soon. Time is of the essence, of course. So let's get on with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start. I've got 4 vinyl records I'm going to show and 1 CD. So I'm going to start with the CD first because it's a lot easy. It's a lot farther away for me to put away, but that's okay. So on guitar. Now, this probably won't come to any shock from anybody who's in this vinyl community and knows my true love for this band. And it is, without a doubt, Dimebag Darrell. Dime. Leads. The guy's got riffs for days. Yes, we know he hasn't been with us. But you could have him live, or they could have, have passed on. So yeah, that's basically it. Dime's the first one that I'm choosing. Now, I'm just gonna go random. I'm not gonna pick guitar player, and then go from there. On bass, I'm gonna go with this guy right here, Frank Bello. I honestly think, at least I think that's Frank. I'm almost 100% sure that's Frank. I think Frank Bello would absolutely do a fantastic job on bass. He's an unreal player, phenomenal player. I honestly don't think Frank gets enough love from the musicians from other metal musicians. He really doesn't get enough love because people are like, oh, well, he's an Anthrax, he wasn't that good. Well, I'm sorry, if you've played his bass lines, you understand, you know that this guy has chops and he has the ability, and he doesn't have to worry about playing 1,000 miles an hour, but this guy can keep up with the rest of the band. Let's go with second guitar player. Now, if we're talking thrash, you might as well get basically the man who pretty much made it as brutal as possible. I mean, anytime someone says, if you could emulate a guitar player, and let's be very real, I'm a very terrible guitar player. Who would you emulate? That's easy. None other than this man. Right there. Gary fucking Holt. Okay? While I do deeply love Slayer, and I do deeply love Jeff Hanneman, I think Dimebag and Gary Holt would write some of the nastiest of compositions. Just the utmost nastiest of compositions. I truly, truly believe that. Their ability to hit the fucking hit the whammy bar, like what, just, oh god, endless options between those two, and especially with Frank. And that's the thing about Frank Bello. That's why I put Frank there, because I honestly think that Frank could really come up with some tasty bass lines to coincide with those two. And I mean, come on, it's like it's a no friggin' brainer. Now drums. I actually sat there and I had Mickey D on drums, but I changed my mind. And I'll talk about the other guitar player that I changed too. But I honestly think this guy doesn't get enough love either. This guy he almost gets no love. Unless you're, into this band. Like, I mean, mind you, I don't listen to this band as often as I do other bands, but they're in my playlists and so on and so forth. From this band, that man right there, Venter. Honestly, he does not get enough love whatsoever. And that dude hits hard. If you're gonna have a guy like Gary Holt, a Dimebag, and Frank Bello, and we know Frank can keep up with it. Honestly, he could keep up. But you gotta have a drummer that's gonna hit hard and just really, really, really go up, over the top drum wise. I honestly, truly think that he's gonna be the dude to do it, really. And yeah. Now, I'm going with a different. Actually, you know what? I'm making a change right now. Totally making a change right now. On vocals, I originally had Rob Halford. But I thought, shit, I can bring... Since it's a fantasy band and it's never going to happen, we're going to go Power Trip's Riley Gale. Because, yeah, Riley Gale singing with those fucking animals. Jesus, Murphy. If you guys do not know who Power Trip are, and you don't know who Riley Gale is, what the fuck is wrong with you? If you love old school thrash, vintage thrash with some groove, and yet, no double kicks, you get single kicks. You really, really, really need to listen to these guys. And may I suggest this monster of a record that was released in 2017. This record is phenomenal. Utterly, utterly phenomenal. So, as you know, I can kind of do this. I can make changes right off the bat. So yeah, Riley Gale, vocals. Gary Holt, guitar. Dimebag Darrell, guitar. Bass, Frank Bello, and Venter from Creator. Now, the two changes I made, obviously, as I had said, was Mickey D from Motorhead. And then, I had originally had this guy on guitar. And to be honest, it's not that I didn't want him there. If it's going to be a thrash band, I don't think he can hang. And I want this to be fucking clear. We know this dude can riff. Okay. But when it comes to speed, it's not there. Now, maybe he can, and I just don't know it. But when it comes right down to it, Tony Iommi. Now, if we're talking like just writing big, fat, heavy, ballsy ass riffs, him and Gary Holt would probably just absolutely make everybody just fall to bits, and their heart would explode, and their brains would just, leak out of their skull, out of their heads. But from a speed, like, Sabbath never really had any sort of fast riffing, like, like Strike of the Beast or A Lesson in Violence or, Blood In, Blood Out or whatever. But Gary can come down in speed, but I don't think Tony can pick up the speed. So that's why my fantasy band is Dimebag Darrell on guitar, Gary Holt on guitar, Venter on the drums, Frank Bello on the bass, and Riley Gale on vocals. 2 dead, 3 still alive. And honestly, if those are 2 that were dead were still alive, smoke show. Thank you guys so very much for watching. I really, really appreciate that. All of my new subscribers, you guys have been fucking excellent. Thank you so very much. Make sure when you guys do hit that subscribe button, you guys are hitting that bell. It's going to do me a big favor. Honestly, I mean, I do have about 65 to 70% of people who do watch these. They're not subscribing. If you can, I want to get this channel to move as far as possible. I'm really, really, really enjoying showing records and doing these contests and having discussions and top 10 lists and stuff. I'm going to do reviews if they ever come my way. I am working on a review for one member of our VC. I will also be working on another one after that. I do have to reach out to one gentleman and going to go from there, and I think it's going to be a good time. So yeah, thank you very much, guys, as I say, for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Cheers.